What do you think?
Wait, there's ants crawling up your shoe.
Running? I heard it.
Do you think you'd be willing to take like 12 for it?
Yeah, I'd take 12.
Take 12?
Yeah.
Someone ran this with no water in there for like a long time. Okay, so this morning it was downpouring and so I couldn't come out here. It's still kind of drizzling, but it's light enough and I'm just excited enough that I want to get out here. So I'm going to take a look at the boat and just kind of see what needs to happen so that we can get out and have a good time and not get stuck somewhere, because that would suck. So the things that need to be working the most is, first off, getting us around. On the trailer, the tires, thankfully, are in super good condition. These right here will need to be replaced eventually. They're very corroded. Not a showstopper on the trailer, but also like the boat does not touch these running boards. So I don't know if there's, maybe they can just be adjusted and slid up. So that trailering it is a little safer. But aside from that, the trailer's good. I mean, we drove it as far as we're going to be driving it here in Florida yesterday, and we got here in one piece. So that's it for the trailers, just those shocks. As for the boat itself, there's a couple things I want to look at. First off, the motor that raises and lowers the boat is not working. They raised it up a little bit, and then we went to lower it back down, and it got stuck in this position, which thankfully it's like part the way up, so it's not like hitting the ground or anything, but so it seems like the motor is working. I don't know if, the fluid needs to be replaced or something. There's a lot of corrosion there, so we'll have to take a look at that. I'm gonna need a new drain plug, or at least find the other one. We looked through these lockers last night, but didn't see anything. Then for the motor itself, I don't want it to get too wet right now, but right here, this ignition coil is not even connected. It's like corroded out, and yeah, so we're gonna for sure have to replace this ignition coil, and I'm gonna double check the other ones. But it was last night, it was running on just 2 cylinders. So that's decent news. Or really bad news that it's been running on only 2 cylinders for a long time. The compression's all mismatched, I don't know. So gonna replace that. Overall, it's looking in pretty decent condition for paying $1,200 for it. I don't know exactly how to look at it, but right here's our fuel cap, and then let's hop up in the boat. So there's a couple access hatches here down to the fuel tank, so we can get down there if we need. I'm not worried about like overhauling it a bunch. I just want to make sure that it's going to work and that there's not a ton of garbage in the fuel tank. So I'm going to look into doing a flush on that, or yeah, I don't know. There's probably a bunch of really old fuel in there. So either drain it and then flush it, or at least just drain the fuel tank and make sure there's not a ton of crap coming out of it. The other thing I can do, if this tank sucks and there's all sorts of garbage in it, we can just run the motor off of an auxiliary tank just to get us out there. The goal is to get out and have fun, not have a perfect boat. I don't know if I'll worry about like removing these speakers. I mean, potentially they work. Speaker system is in there. Pretty unlikely that this works, but maybe it does, and all I have to do is replace a speaker and then we can get some sound out here, or I can just bring a Bluetooth speaker, and that would be plenty enough for us. It's probably worth it to replace this latch here so that this will close and not let water in there and slap around. Gonna have to replace some fuses and find caps for those. But otherwise, this thing is an overall, seems pretty seaworthy. I'm gonna want to tighten or replace a bunch of screws because most of these hatches, they're like pretty loose. I haven't found one, but if there's not like a main battery shut off, I kind of want to put one so I don't come out here and it's just dead. Yeah, the latches on these are pretty sucky. But honestly, if they don't work, it's fine. Like, the boat does not need these latches to be the best in the world to get out and have a good time. As I walk around, there's like, you can tell there's quite a bit of corrosion down underneath. I'm trying to decide how much to care about it. Like, as long as it's not on the outside of the hole, I probably don't care. I don't have hardly any tools here. So unless it's something I can fix with like a socket set and a screwdriver, it's probably not something I'm gonna worry about right now. The fuel gauge is showing that it's got half a tank of fuel. I wonder if that's accurate. I think my kids are also going to be upset that there's not a swim ladder anywhere on this boat. I'm sure I can find one to install in here, but I kind of don't want to like mess with the hull too much. Oh, that's pretty plugged up. I also saw that there's a bilge pump down in here. Gonna want to make sure that that thing works and maybe put in a second one if I'm not super confident that it's gonna work well. I probably ought to figure out what this is and make sure that its job is being accomplished by something. Might also be worth replacing this guy. For now, I don't know if we'll be doing any nighttime boating, but I need to double check that the lights work. But if we're not out at night, those don't matter. I ended up spending about 2 weeks of nights and weekends getting the boat ready for adventure. Now, if you're watching this hoping for a detailed walkthrough of how to fix a boat, you have come to the wrong place. There's already loads of how-to videos out there. I think if I had to call this something, I'd call it more of a how-did video, or rather, what I did, not how you should. Now, while you watch me tinker, let me introduce you to the concept of a ghetto boat. A ghetto boat is the water-going incarnation of the make-it-happen spirit. Ghetto boats are not pretty, they're not necessarily comfortable to ride in, and when they turn heads, it's not because of sex appeal. They're cheap, they run, and they get you on the water. I was first introduced to the concept of a ghetto boat when I was 12. Our family friends had a small speedboat. It rattled and shook. When you turned really sharp, water would pour through the seam in the fiberglass. One time they took us out and the battery died. We had to call the park rangers to tow us back to the marina. I remember playing air guitar on an oar and making up this stupid song about getting rescued. Our family friends were well off. They could have financed any boat they wanted. But a nice boat wasn't the goal. Having fun was the goal. They called that little boat Ghetto Boat, and the concept has stuck with me. Back in 2018, I bought my first ghetto boat. It was a 1970-something Sea Ray cuddy cabin that I bought for $500. The seats were faded and cracking. It had a funny smell. The exhaust leaked water into the bilge, and the throttle had stripped out and I had to use a pair of vice grips to control the motor. My wife and I were broke college students at the time, and that boat was our ticket to the water. We were out on that thing all the time. Each outing was a new adventure. We took friends out, we had cookouts on the beach, we did an overnighter and slept in the cuddy cabin. My wife and I tested and grew our relationship trying to get that boat in and out of the water on windy days and at busy boat ramps. We ran out of gas and we blew trailer tires. It was so fun. We loved it. Out of the water, me and that boat got to know each other really well. And a word of advice, if you don't like cleaning up motor oil, just be sure when you put that oil filter on, just screw it on all the way. Yeah, I'm sure there's someone out there who needs to hear that. In the end, I sold that boat for $600. I made money. So even though rich dad Robert Kiyosaki says a boat is a liability, my ghetto boat was an appreciating asset. You heard me. You'll get to see this in later videos, but my father-in-law Brian is a make it happen legend, and he has owned his share of ghetto boats over the years. He's never been one to let not having the nicest, newest things keep him from his adventures. His boat won't win a beauty contest or make it on the cover of a magazine, but I guarantee you that Brian spends more days out on the lake than any of the folks with the big boats down at the end of the marina. This right here, this Neptune Sunseeker, this is my new ghetto boat. Changing subjects a little bit, in the last video, I showed myself on the pier where I eat my lunch. And if you paid attention, you might have noticed I was reading Robert Pirsig's 1974 book, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. It's a fictional autobiography that tells the story of a cross-country motorcycle trip. It talks about our relationship with technology. The author's friend, John, owns a new expensive BMW motorcycle, but is unwilling to learn how to maintain it. When problems arise, he becomes frustrated and is forced to live with issues or rely on professional mechanics to repair it. In contrast, the author has an older motorcycle that he's gotten to know. When issues come up, he knows what's going on and he uses logic and problem solving to repair it himself. Pirsig encourages the reader to engage with technology in a way that respects its role in adding value to your lives, while at the same time valuing the human touch and personal experience that comes with it. Now, back to my life, in a way I kind of connect all this together. I've always been the computer guy to my friends and family. Back in high school, I had a friend Tanner. He was also the computer guy. We joked that when people would comment that we were, quote, good at computers, that really we just knew how to use Google and weren't afraid to break things. We weren't satisfied to live with problems and knew how to find the information we needed to fix them, aka searching Google. It's kind of nuts. Sometimes I see people who have like the weirdest setting on their phone and they just keep it forever. And I'm like, you know that there's a setting to just like change that. Anyway, my mom will call me every so often, asking for some help with some random website I've never used. Mom, I love you. Somehow, with a few minutes of troubleshooting, I'm able to figure it out. I guess it's just a mindset thing. It's the same with motors. I've always been the kind of guy to work on my own cars. And I'll be honest, it's historically just been to save money, but over time, I've grown to love it. Did I know how to change shocks and struts on a 2012 Chrysler Town & Country before doing it? No, but I knew how to find out how to do it, and I wasn't afraid to get my hands dirty figuring it out. And after years of working on the same machine, there's a really cool relationship you build with it. You learn its language and you start to understand what it needs, what its noises and vibrations mean. This boat is the first time I've ever worked on a two-stroke motor. The noises and vibrations are different than I'm used to, but I'm starting to learn its language. I promise I'm going somewhere with this, so stay with me. Robert Pirsig passed away in 2017, and I can't help wondering what he would think about life in 2026. Personally, I feel torn. On one hand, AI, specifically LLMs, have made working on a project like this easier than ever, specifically helping me know what I don't know. Every time I use it, I'm blown away. It's literally like magic. The internet is full of how-to guides, and back in the Google days, feels weird even saying that, if I knew what was wrong and what needed fixing, I would simply search how to fix it. And there's probably an answer out there. I'd read forums, watch some videos, and get to work. But what if I didn't know what needed fixing? Maybe I didn't even know what the name of something was to start searching. I feel like I'd spend hours going down rabbit holes just to realize I was searching for the wrong thing from the start.
Or maybe I'd post on a forum and hope that someone smart replied. Now, it's by no means perfect, but with LLMs, however, I simply just describe the problem I'm having and have a conversation to diagnose what's going on. Then from there, I'll start the whole how-to search, watch the videos, and get to work. I mean, it's almost like having an expert mechanic with me who's been there and seen it all and done that, and it's just in my pocket. It blows me away. Now, on the other hand, generative AI continues to encroach on reality, and algorithmic social media keeps our lizard brains glued to our screens. And back over to LLMs, with great power comes great responsibility. In the past, the internet, or more specifically people on the internet, would try to tell you what to think. But now LLMs have the power to do the thinking for you. That's kind of scary. So where's the line? How do I adopt and appreciate technology without outsourcing the creativity and hard work and experience? I just don't have the answer. For me, and for right now, my guiding light is this. Does it help me make it happen? If yes, I think it gets to stay.
That's going to be it for this video. Tune in for part 2 to see the rest of the work I do on the boat before our first outing. And as always, my question for you is, what's your MIH?